The world was left in absolute shock when a chilling clip surfaced online, allegedly showing the final moments of R. Kelly behind bars before whispers of a brutal end began spreading like wildfire. The video, grainy and dimly lit, quickly went viral. Fans claimed they could see the fear in his eyes, the tension in his voice, and the eerie silence that hung in the air right before chaos erupted. For some, it looked like the last performance of a man who once ruled the charts, but now found himself trapped in a cage of paranoia, betrayal, and dangerous enemies. Others believe the clip was staged, but either way, it has stirred a storm of speculation and reopened old wounds. Emotions ran high as viewers replayed the footage over and over, asking themselves if this was really the last glimpse of the so-called king of R&B alive. Family members stayed divided, some begging for answers, others pointing fingers at hidden forces inside the prison walls. Fans flooded social media with heartbreak, rage, and disbelief, while insiders whispered that this was more than just a tragic accident. Was it a warning, a setup, or something much darker? This viral footage has turned into one of
the explanation. You can start a rumor on a guy like me or a celebrity just like that. All you have to do is push a button on your phone and say, so-and-so did this to me. R. Kelly did this to me.
But the most chilling moment was when Kelly completely broke down, giving us a preview of the psychological state we're seeing in his prison recordings.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
One of the most disturbing mysteries of the year. The leaked clip did not just spread across timelines, it detonated like a bomb in the middle of an already fragile story.
You're trying to kill me! You're killing me, man! This is not about music! I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it! Y'all just don't want to believe the truth!
That breakdown was prophetic because that same fighting for my life energy is
People who once adored R. Kelly's music could not believe what they were watching. And even those who despised him found themselves drawn into the eerie details. In the shaky video, he looked tired, older than his years, pacing the narrow space of his cell, speaking to someone out of frame as if he knew the walls themselves.
But I'm alive.
That buried alive line hits way harder now because in his new tracks he's talking about folks trying to poison him and take him out in prison. Feels like he was already peeping the vibes and mentally getting strapped for the isolation and paranoia he's living through. And when
themselves were listening, his words were muffled, but the fear was sharp enough to cut through. "They want me gone," he whispered, eyes darting toward.
To hold somebody, let alone 4, 5, 6, 50, you said. Why, how stupid would I be to do that?
I didn't say you
That's
were holding.
stupid, guys.
I didn't.
Is this camera on me?
That is this camera on me moment was wild because it showed Kelly knew exactly how to put on a show. Same type of calculated moves we're seeing now in those prison tapes that feel built to pull sympathy and maybe even sway his case. Now fast forward to 2025 and we're
the heavy door. The clip froze for a second, then continued with a faint sound like footsteps approaching. It was enough to send fans into a frenzy, with thousands insisting this was no ordinary prison moment, but a sinister prelude to something tragic. Rumors swirled that the video had been smuggled out by another inmate, someone who had nothing left to lose and wanted the world to see the truth. On social media, hashtags exploded overnight, with people demanding to know how such footage had even made it outside prison walls. Some called it proof that R. Kelly had enemies inside powerful enough to silence him. Others said it was staged to win sympathy, part of a larger strategy his team had been spinning for years. Yet the tone of the video, the tremor in his voice, carried a weight that could not be easily dismissed. This was not the polished performer from interviews past. This was a man unraveling inside his family circle. The tension grew unbearable. His brother, once fiercely protective, confessed in an emotional live stream that he could not ignore the pain written on Kelly's face. "I know that look," he said with tears in his eyes. "That's not just fear. That's a man who knows he ain't safe." But other relatives pushed back, accusing him of fueling hysteria. The family fractured into factions, some clinging to the hope that the video was exaggerated, others convinced it was the last straw. The disagreements spilled into the public, with cousins, uncles, even estranged children making statements that only deepened the drama. One claimed that prison officials had warned them months earlier that Kelly's mental state was collapsing. Another accused the legal team of orchestrating leaks to manipulate the court. While the family tore itself apart, fans dug deeper. Old interviews resurfaced, especially the infamous outbursts where Kelly insisted he was fighting for his life. Viewers compared the old rants to the haunted expression in the leaked clip, noting how the desperation had transformed from anger to quiet terror. Forums buzzed with theories. Some believed gangs inside the prison had marked him, others whispered about corrupt guards, and a darker corner of the internet pushed the idea of a government conspiracy to make sure he never spoke again. Each theory.
By May 2025, a YouTube track titled "They Trying to Poison Me in Jail" surfaced, and this joint was straight haunted. It was pitched as a vulnerable ballad where Kelly claims prison officials are trying to poison him. As the months went by, these recordings started getting darker and more desperate. By June 2025, multiple tracks dropped with titles that would,
no matter how wild, gained traction in the absence of answers. Media outlets, hungry for clicks, fanned the flames. Anchors replayed the clip frame by frame, pointing out shadows, background noises, and even the way Kelly clutched his hands together as though expecting a blow. Commentators argued over whether the clip was authentic, and specialists were called to analyze the audio. One claimed you could clearly hear someone whisper, "Finish it," in the background, though others dismissed it as distortion. But the debate only added fuel, and the story refused to die down. Fans posted slowed-down versions, creating entire breakdown videos that went viral themselves. The atmosphere grew heavier by the hour, as if the world was waiting for confirmation. The midst of all this chaos, a new voice entered the conversation. A former inmate from the same facility stepped forward, claiming he knew the truth behind the video. Speaking anonymously to a podcast, he described a prison riddled with tension, where guards played favorites and enemies sharpened their knives behind smiles. He alleged that Kelly had been isolated not only for his crimes, but also for protection. Yet protection in that environment was a thin veil at best. "Once they decide you're done, no wall can keep you safe," the ex-inmate said. His chilling words echoed across social platforms, leaving many to wonder if the viral clip was indeed a farewell message, intentional or not. Meanwhile, inside the legal team, whispers of betrayal surfaced. Insiders claimed one of his closest advisors had secretly recorded calls and sold them to bloggers hungry for exclusives. This advisor, once trusted with Kelly's deepest fears, was now painted as a traitor who chose profit over loyalty. Documents leaked online suggested that internal fights had broken out over unpaid fees, with some lawyers threatening to abandon the case altogether. Fans latched onto this betrayal narrative, believing the viral video could have been leaked not by an inmate, but by someone on the payroll. The image of betrayal only deepened the tragedy, painting Kelly as a man surrounded by vultures picking at his last scraps of fame and fortune. As the days rolled on, the tension showed no signs of easing. Candlelight vigils popped up in Chicago, New York, and Atlanta, where loyal fans gathered holding posters and singing his old hits. For them, the leaked footage was a cry for help, proof that their idol was being silenced in the most brutal way. They demanded justice, waving handmade signs that read, "Protect Kelly," and "Stop the cover-up." But not everyone sympathized. Outside one vigil, protesters showed up with banners reminding the world of his victims, shouting that no amount of paranoia erased the decades of pain he had caused. Clashes broke out, with police forced to step in and separate the two sides. The divide between fans and critics reached a boiling point, mirroring the fractures inside his own family. The viral clip also sent shockwaves through the music industry. Fellow artists who once collaborated with him remained silent, while a few brave voices spoke out. One R&B singer tweeted that watching the footage made her sick, not because she felt sorry for him, but because it reminded her of the fear he had inflicted on young girls. Another producer, who had cut ties years ago, admitted he had nightmares after seeing the video, haunted by the possibility that he had ignored warning signs back in the day. Still, others expressed quiet sympathy, pointing out that no human deserved to live in such constant fear. The industry's silence was deafening, each unspoken word adding another layer of unease to the unfolding saga. Throughout it all, the video itself remained a haunting centerpiece. Every frame was dissected, every sound speculated upon, every pause in his speech turned into evidence. The mystery of who leaked it, why it surfaced now, and what it truly meant grew larger than the man himself. People weren't just watching R. Kelly anymore. They were watching a symbol of downfall, paranoia, and betrayal. Whether you hated him or pitied him, you could not look away. The footage had become more than viral. It had become a cultural obsession, a mirror reflecting not just one man's collapse, but the hunger of a society addicted to spectacle. And just when it seemed the noise might fade, another twist arrived. An unverified account uploaded what they claimed was an extended version of the footage, showing a blurred figure entering the cell moments after the first clip ended. The internet erupted again, some insisting it was a guard, others swearing it was another inmate. The grainy image only deepened the mystery, leaving everyone desperate for answers. Suddenly, the original video looked like just the beginning of a much darker saga. The supposed extended clip turned the storm into a full hurricane. The grainy figure at the cell door set off endless debates, with people zooming in, enhancing frames, and circulating screenshots that looked more like abstract paintings than evidence. Yet each blurred outline, each faint shadow became a new chapter in the story. Some swore it was a guard with a baton. Others believed it was an inmate slipping in unnoticed. The most dramatic theory came from a conspiracy forum claiming the figure was planted to stir panic, a deliberate leak to distract from bigger scandals. Whatever the truth, the effect was undeniable. The world now believed they had witnessed the prelude to something irreversible, and the viral video's legend only grew. Inside the prison, whispers reportedly spread among inmates too. A guard anonymously contacted a blogger, saying the atmosphere had shifted after the clip leaked. "You could feel the fear in the air," he said. "Some inmates acted like they'd seen a ghost. They knew once something like that gets out, there's no turning back." According to him, the facility doubled security, cutting phone calls, locking down entire wings, and interrogating staff. Still, the leaks kept flowing, which made it clear someone inside wanted the outside world to stay hooked on every terrifying detail. The sense of betrayal deepened. Was it someone close to him, or an insider with their own agenda? Kelly's family, already fractured, erupted into louder conflict. One of his daughters, who had stayed silent for years, finally posted a message that left fans speechless. She wrote about her complicated feelings, how she could not deny the pain her father caused but still felt a twisted sadness seeing him like that. "I can't erase what he did, but I can't erase that he's my father either," she said. Her words went viral instantly, sparking both sympathy and outrage. Some praised her honesty, while others accused her of trying to rewrite history. The family drama spilled into televised interviews where relatives contradicted each other, sometimes within the same week. One cousin suggested they should demand an independent investigation into his safety, while another blasted them for caring about him when they hadn't spoken in years. The contradictions only fueled the media's appetite, creating a never-ending carousel of sound bites and drama. Fans, too, splintered. While diehards lit candles and prayed for protection, others began to question whether they had been manipulated. On forums, once loyal supporters admitted the video felt like a staged performance, designed to stir sympathy and shift public perception. "This man lived his whole life controlling the narrative," one fan wrote, "so why wouldn't he do it from prison too?" Debates turned hostile, with online groups attacking each other, calling out fake accounts, and accusing rivals of working for hidden forces. The tension wasn't just online either. At one vigil in Chicago, two groups of supporters nearly came to blows, one chanting for justice, the other demanding accountability for the victims. The irony of people fighting over a man locked away in silence only amplified the absurdity. The music industry couldn't hide forever. Whispers emerged that unreleased tracks written in prison were floating around, and producers were being offered huge sums to buy them. One producer admitted anonymously that he had been approached with a demo recorded over a monitored phone call. He described it as eerie, raw, and filled with lines about betrayal, poison, and death. "It didn't sound like a song," he said. "It sounded like a diary entry set to melody." Rumors spread that these recordings were being pieced together into full albums by ghost producers outside the prison. The thought of Kelly's voice continuing to haunt the charts even from behind bars was both thrilling and horrifying to fans and critics alike. The leaks also caught the attention of his victims, who were thrust back into the spotlight against their will. One woman released a statement saying she was sickened by the sympathy he was receiving. She reminded the world that while fans obsessed over his supposed suffering, survivors like her lived with scars that never healed. Her voice shook in a televised interview as she asked, "Why do people care more about his fear than the years of fear he gave us?" Her pain resonated deeply, sparking fresh debates over how society treats powerful men accused of horrific crimes. Some argued the footage proved he was finally experiencing the fear he once inflicted. Others countered that no human deserved such terror, no matter what they had done. The clash of morality became another spectacle, fueling endless talk shows and viral debates. And just as the storm seemed unbearable, a shocking betrayal was uncovered. A former member of his legal team, once considered fiercely loyal, was accused of selling sealed documents to bloggers. The documents allegedly contained personal letters Kelly had written from his cell, begging for protection and describing nightmares of being poisoned. In one letter, he claimed he overheard guards joking about finishing him before Christmas. Whether real or fabricated, the leak drove the frenzy to new heights. Social media flooded with screenshots of the letters, some blurred, others fully exposed, while news outlets scrambled to verify. The betrayal narrative took center stage again, with fans asking who they could trust if even his lawyers were cashing in on his downfall. Throughout it all, the central mystery remained unsolved. Was the viral clip truly his last appearance before a fatal plot? Or was it part of a performance designed to control the world's perception? Every theory seemed possible, and every rumor sparked a new wave of chaos. The story no longer belonged to R. Kelly alone. It belonged to millions who dissected, debated, and reshaped it into something larger than life. And the more people searched for truth, the murkier the truth became, leaving only more questions and an unshakable sense that something terrible was either already unfolding or about to happen. As the noise kept building, new characters began stepping into the spotlight, each one adding another layer of chaos to an already tangled saga. A former cellmate went live on social media, his face hidden in shadows, claiming he had witnessed strange visits to Kelly's block at odd hours. He swore that certain guards had escorted unknown men into restricted areas, whispering in hushed tones before disappearing again. "That man was not safe," he said, his voice shaking. "Everybody in there knew it." The clip you saw was just the beginning. Though his identity was unverified, his words spread like wildfire, feeding a narrative that something dark and coordinated was unfolding inside those walls. The prison administration quickly denied all allegations, releasing a sterile statement that insisted their staff followed strict procedures. But the statement only fanned suspicions. People noted how vague it was, offering no real answers about the video or the extended footage. Critics accused the prison of hiding behind bureaucratic language while the world demanded truth. The denials contrasted sharply with the trembling voice of the former inmate, and the public chose drama over dry official responses. Commentators on talk shows mocked the statement, saying it sounded like a press release written to cover tracks, not to reassure anyone. The mistrust grew so thick that even neutral voices found themselves drowned out. In the middle of this frenzy, another twist sent fans into hysteria. An audio file surfaced online, allegedly of Kelly making a final phone call before the leaked clip. In the recording, his voice cracked as he spoke about being surrounded by enemies. "They watching me even in my sleep," he said. "I hear them outside my door. I don't think I'm making it out." Whether authentic or not, the rawness of the audio made it feel like a goodbye message. Millions listened in disbelief, replaying every word, debating whether it was genuine or manipulated. Some pointed out background noises that sounded like keys jangling or footsteps, adding eerie credibility. Others claimed the audio was just a cruel fabrication designed to stir chaos. But once again, the line between reality and rumor blurred beyond recognition. Kelly's fans, torn between loyalty and fear, started turning on each other. Online groups split into camps. One side argued the recordings proved he was targeted by powerful enemies, while the other said he was staging every leak to manipulate sympathy. Heated arguments erupted in comment sections, with accusations of bots, trolls, and infiltrators spreading disinformation. Some fans even accused surviving victims of orchestrating the leaks to keep his name in the headlines. The cruelty of these accusations shocked many, but they also revealed how deep the obsession had sunk. People were no longer just debating Kelly's fate. They were tearing each other apart in his name. As if the drama weren't enough, a supposed insider leaked photos that allegedly showed handwritten notes from Kelly's cell. The scrawled letters described haunting nightmares, paranoia about being poisoned, and confessions of betrayal by those closest to him. One chilling line read, "I see shadows at night, and I know they are not mine." Whether real or forged, the letters exploded online, shared millions of times with captions like "his final words." Handwriting experts weighed in, some calling the notes authentic, others pointing to inconsistencies. But authenticity hardly mattered. The emotional punch was enough to keep the story alive and burning. Fans clung to the notes as evidence of a man begging the world to hear his final cries. While his defenders demanded justice, critics seized the moment to remind everyone of his victims. One survivor went viral for her blunt post. "Funny how people cry over his fear now, but nobody cried when we lived in fear every single day." Her statement reignited old wounds, bringing the focus back to the years of abuse that had led to his downfall. Protests sprang up outside courthouses and studios, with survivors and activists holding signs reading, "Don't forget the girls," and "His fear does not erase ours." The protests clashed with groups chanting for prison reform, arguing that even guilty men deserved safety behind bars. The collision of these movements created chaotic scenes, with cameras capturing shouting matches that mirrored the fractured emotions of an entire nation. Meanwhile, journalists dug deeper. One investigative reporter revealed that multiple lawsuits had been filed against the prison in recent years, alleging mistreatment of high-profile inmates. Though none directly tied to Kelly, the lawsuits painted a disturbing picture of corruption, cover-ups, and neglect. The revelation added credibility to theories that something sinister could have happened to him, or at least that his fears weren't unfounded. The headlines shifted from entertainment gossip to broader questions about prison conditions, but always with Kelly's face at the center. His downfall, once a story of justice, had transformed into a dark mirror reflecting systemic flaws in society's obsession with spectacle. The mystery reached new heights when another supposed leak surfaced. An unverified video showing guards wheeling a stretcher down a dim hallway. Though the figure on the stretcher was blurred, online voices immediately declared it was Kelly. Hashtags exploded again, people claiming they had witnessed his final removal from the cell. Authorities refused to confirm or deny the footage, citing privacy and ongoing investigations. The silence only fed the beast, and theories spread like wildfire. Was he alive? Was he gone? Was the stretcher scene even real? Every unanswered question pulled the public deeper into the labyrinth, and by now, nobody cared about proof. What mattered was the drama, the suspense, and the haunting feeling that they were watching the unraveling of something historic. The stretcher footage became the breaking point. People who had dismissed earlier leaks as exaggerated suddenly froze when they saw the blurred figure being wheeled under a dim light. News anchors replayed it on loop, voices trembling as they speculated if this was truly the last glimpse of the once famous singer. Talk shows erupted with heated arguments, some insisting the prison was covering up a fatal incident, others warning the public against feeding into rumors. But the silence from officials spoke louder than any confirmation, leaving the world to fill the void with imagination and fear. Fans gathered outside the prison gates chanting for answers, while survivors of his past crimes stood across the street with signs demanding that attention return to their stories. The two groups clashed in the pouring rain, creating scenes of chaos that cameras captured and broadcasted worldwide. Meanwhile, more leaks surfaced, as if someone wanted to keep the fire alive. An audio clip claimed to capture Kelly's last words, a desperate plea where he whispered about being betrayed by those closest to him. "They promised me protection," the shaky voice said, "but they left me to die." Whether real or fabricated, the recording was haunting enough to grip millions of listeners. Reactions poured in instantly. Celebrities posted cryptic messages, old collaborators kept quiet, and fans lit candles at impromptu vigils, singing his songs as if trying to resurrect a ghost. Some fans even vowed to investigate on their own, launching online groups dedicated to uncovering the truth about what happened inside Butner. These groups treated every frame, every leaked word, as sacred evidence, turning the entire ordeal into a crowdsourced investigation with no clear end. Inside his fractured family, emotions boiled over. One relative released private voicemails where Kelly had allegedly spoken of feeling hunted by both inmates and staff. Another family member countered by accusing them of exploiting his misery for attention. Siblings who hadn't spoken in years gave conflicting interviews, while estranged children struggled with the painful weight of their father's legacy. Their raw arguments spilled across screens, turning personal grief into public theater. Viewers watched every tear, every shout, every accusation as if it were part of an unscripted reality show, unable to look away from the dysfunction. The industry, too, faced uncomfortable echoes. Old collaborators faced backlash for staying silent, while younger artists openly distanced themselves. One producer claimed the unreleased prison songs being shopped around were authentic, filled with chilling lyrics about poison and betrayal. Another swore they were fakes created with artificial intelligence. The truth blurred once again, and the debate only deepened the sense of unease. Fans argued that hearing his voice, whether real or not, was enough to prove that his spirit was still fighting. Critics countered that it was exploitation, a desperate attempt to profit off a man whose downfall had already been cemented. The music became another battlefield, with each note carrying more weight than it should have. The longer the silence from prison officials stretched, the louder the theories grew. Some claimed he had been transferred under a secret program. Others believed he was already gone. But the truth was being hidden to avoid unrest. A few wild voices even suggested he had faked his own death, slipping away to live in hiding, an idea that only added to the circus. Hashtags like "Justice for Robert" and "Where is R. Kelly" trended for weeks, fueling endless speculation. The world had turned his collapse into a global obsession, part tragedy, part theater, and part mystery. And then, the ultimate twist. A final leak surfaced. This time, a short video of Kelly himself, pale and gaunt, speaking directly into the camera from what looked like the same cell as before. His words were fragmented, emotional, and filled with dread. "They tried to bury me alive," he said, his voice cracking. "But if you're seeing this, know that I never gave up." The clip ended abruptly, leaving more questions than answers. Was it filmed before the stretcher scene? Was it staged to manipulate public sympathy? Or was it truly the last message of a man trapped in paranoia and betrayal? No one could say for sure, but the effect was electric. The footage reignited the frenzy, leaving millions glued to their screens, convinced they had just witnessed history's most haunting farewell. In the end, the final footage of R. Kelly in jail became more than a video. It became a mirror reflecting fear, betrayal, obsession, and the hunger for spectacle. Fans were left devastated. Survivors felt their wounds ripped open, and the public remained trapped between outrage and fascination. Whether he had been silenced, staged his own tragedy, or simply collapsed under the weight of paranoia, the story refused to die. It lingered in whispers, in leaks, in arguments across dinner tables and internet forums. And as the weeks passed, one truth remained clear. The final footage had transformed into something larger than the man himself, a symbol of downfall that no one could look away from, no matter how dark it became. And now we turn it over to you. After everything you've just seen and heard, the questions still hang heavy in the air. Was the viral clip truly the last glimpse of R. Kelly alive? Or was it another carefully staged performance meant to sway public opinion one last time? Did betrayal from those closest to him seal his fate? Or was the prison itself too dangerous for anyone to survive? The truth remains clouded, and the only certainty is that the world will be debating this footage for years to come. Fans are shocked, families are divided, and the industry has been left speechless. Emotions ran high throughout this entire saga, and every twist pulled us deeper into a story no one could have scripted. But where do you stand in all of this? Do you believe the leaked video was genuine evidence of something darker? Or just another dramatic chapter in the long, complicated legacy of R. Kelly? We want to hear your voice. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. because your perspective matters in a story that refuses to let go. Make sure you hit that like button if you stayed with us through the drama, subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next big reveal, and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when more shocking updates break. This saga has shaken fans across the globe, and the conversation is only just beginning. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Join the discussion, share your theories, and let the world know where you stand.